In the early morning, Albany looks like one of those seaside towns on the English Channel. Victorian terraced buildings, the slight greyness in the weather, and of course, the rotunda. Then at Norman House, a daily ritual completes the illusion. And it's fitting really, since on this holiday along Western Australia's south coast, we'll be checking out that most English of institutions, the bed and breakfast establishment, better known as the B&B. At Norman House, where Peter Hardy-Atkins is host, the breakfast part of the deal is well underway. This was a gentleman's residence in the 1850s and later was a boarding house for country kids who came to Albany for schooling.
Oh, thank you.
Now run by Peter and wife Kay, Norman House attracts tourists who want something other than hotels and motels. Albany nestles in the fold of two large hills, rather like a smallish Hobart. And like Hobart, it's a classic setting for small pubs, quaint stone buildings and B&Bs. And there are quite a few from which to choose. Vancouver House, a sometime bank, came into the business after its owners had researched B&Bs in England. Probably more upmarket is Flinders Lodge, 7 kilometres from the centre of Albany and set in large grounds. There are 8 guest rooms here in a building that's described as a combination of English and Mediterranean. Back in town, you'll find Parkville, 12 rooms furnished with Australian antiques and bric-a-brac. Parkville, by the way, claims to be the oldest continually operating guest house in Australia. And down this way, that should come as no surprise. Albany is old, even by East Coast standards. In fact, the town was settled a few years before Perth, which is something the locals like to point out. And it's because of its history that Albany is now very popular as a tourist destination, especially if you want a very easy, relaxed, unhurried kind of holiday. And that means it's all a far cry from 1826. On Christmas Day that year, the Amity reached King George Sound. On board was a party of soldiers and convicts who were ordered to form a settlement. Today, the Amity rests permanently on dry land below that settlement and is a favourite of tourists. But she's not the original brig, she's a faithful reconstruction. Unlike the old colonial jail nearby, which is the real thing. You might say the bed and breakfast in Albany has improved out of sight since those early days. Continuing the journey from Albany west to Denmark, there were massive granite cliffs, aquamarine swimming pools, vast and immaculate surfing and fishing beaches, and the biggest surprise, almost no one on them. Denmark, when you reach it, is immediately different. For a start, this is the edge of Carry country, with the Denmark River gliding through the forests and town before it empties into the huge Wilson Inlet. Down at the Cinnamon Collards B&B, just out of Denmark, you can get mugged by the sheep before breakfast.
Big of a thing, hey? These Romneys are heavy and strong. Yeah, the trouble when you have them like this, they'll knock you over.
Yeah. But for sheer marketing, how could I go past Eaglemont Farm?
Come on! Come on! Come on!
When John Williams calls, the Eaglemont Menagerie knows it's showtime for the paying guests. As well as cows and the bull, there's rabbits, guinea pigs, and these two, Jackaroo and Jillaroo, the orphans.
Okay, come on. Come on. No, this lady really loves a cuddle up there, doesn't she? Eh? She does too. It's a wrong arm, isn't it? She normally gets fed the other side. Isn't that better? Oh, you see?
And how do you upstage the orphans? Well, it's not easy, but here at Eaglemont Farm, it does happen. come morning, it's an al fresco alpaca breakfast, and the guests love it.
Up you go, Admiral.
Here it comes.
One lot of breakfast anyway. This is for us, the alpacas.
Like the alpacas, the B&Bs have successfully translated into the Australian environment. They're a popular and convenient way to take a travelling holiday. And even in this small part of Western Australia, they're all so very different. If you'd like a little more information on any of the places you've seen on holiday tonight, why not call 0055 33222. Leave your name and address and we'll get some material to you in the post. Well, that's just about it for Holiday for this week and for this series. We hope you've enjoyed the show and perhaps we've given you a few ideas of what you might do and where you might like to go for your next holiday. See you again soon.
You can find